We have been following in the stories these last several months of the Lord bringing the children of Israel out of Egypt, out of slavery, through the wilderness to the Holy Land. And it's often called the Promised Land because that land, the land that becomes known now as Israel, that land, the land of Canaan, the Holy Land, was promised centuries before to the first leader of the Jewish people, Abraham, and then to Isaac and Jacob, his son. And Jacob had many children, and all those children in Egypt, wandering through the wilderness after years of slavery, they multiplied and multiplied. They became a great nation. And now they've come back, and they're coming into the land that the Lord promised that they would inherit. And it wasn't without struggle. But as they settled the land and as they conquered, and we've talked about the stories of conquering Jericho and Ai, and the Gibeonites were talked about, the people that came from one of the cities and kind of tricked Joshua. But little by little they conquered dozens and dozens of towns and were able to then come into that land and take it as the Lord had promised them. So I'm going to read from the book of Joshua, towards the end of the book, chapter 21, and talk about the city of the Levites. Now the Levites were one of the tribes, Reuben, Simeon, Levi, the third son, and Levi's children didn't get their own territory. Kind of like if we distributed all of Canada to just a few big families. And I'd say to this family, you take British Columbia, you take Alberta, you take Manitoba, you take Saskatchewan, Ontario, Quebec, PEI, and gave out the whole territory, all of the provinces to different families. Well, they divided all of the land to different families, and to Levi, they didn't give a province. They didn't give a territory. They said, Levi, you are the people in charge of taking care of the temple and teaching people about worship. So you get 48 cities where you will live, and your livestock can have all the common area. You can graze your livestock in these towns and live there. So the lesson from Joshua, the heads of the fathers of the tribe of Levi came to the heads of the tribes of Israel. And they said, the Lord commanded through Moses to give us cities that we can dwell in and their common lands for our livestock. So the children of Israel gave to the Levites their inheritance at the command of the Lord, and these cities with their common lands. And the cities of the Levites within the possession of the children of Israel were 48 cities with their common lands. So the Lord gave to Israel all the land which he had sworn to give to their fathers, and they took possession of it, and they dwelt in it. The Lord gave them rest all around, according to all that he had sworn to their fathers. Not a man stood with any enemies against them. The Lord delivered all of their enemies into their hand. Not a word failed of the good things the Lord had spoken to them. It all came to pass. 48. How many is 48? Well, I've got 4 packages of pens here. And if you add up this 12-pack, and this 12-pack, and this 12-pack, and this 12-pack, you get 48. 4 dozen cartons of eggs, that's 48. We don't tend to think in numbers like 48. Oh, well, it's 12, 10, 12. But you take 12, you multiply it 4 times, you get 48. And that's because the 12 tribes of Israel each had 4 cities in each of their provinces. And that's how you get 48. Now, there were some special cities that were distributed, 3 on one side of the Jordan River and 3 on another. And I'm just going to pull out 6 special markers that are different from all the rest. Because I want to talk a little bit about that. So, okay, of these 48, different. There's 6. Where's my last one? Not that important, but it's in there. Here we go. So there were 6 cities, and I have just these 6 pens to represent 6 special places that the Lord said, these are going to be cities of refuge. Do you know what refuge means? Refuge is when there's something scary going on, you need to find a really safe place, you go to a place of refuge. Some people refer to the church as a sanctuary because there's a sacredness about it and there's a safety about it. And lots of people who want to find a sense of safety come to the church as their spiritual and emotional refuge. So there were 6 cities of refuge. I have them up here with 6 erasers. What do you do with an eraser? Everybody knows, right? 6 erasers, 6 cities, 6 cities of refuge. An eraser is for when you make a mistake. You never make a mistake, right? If people didn't make mistakes, we wouldn't make erasers, right? If people didn't get sick, we wouldn't have to make medicine, right? If it didn't get dark outside, we wouldn't have to turn the lights on. So there's lots of things that happen, and we have ways to help things out when sad or bad things happen, when we make mistakes. 6 cities of the 48 were places people could run to if they made a mistake. There you go. Imagine you're out chopping wood in a forest with somebody, and you're using your axe. Everything's going fine. You're, pulling down big timbers, and then you're going up to the littler ones, and you're chopping it. And the head came off of my axe. It flew off the handle. The Lord knows that we make mistakes like this. Should I have known better to check my axe head? My goodness. I'll just put that right back down here. I made a mistake. I was chopping. My axe head flew off. What happened if it hit somebody? I set this up knowing that I was going to shoot my axe head off of my axe handle. But what if I did that really by mistake and I hurt somebody? You think that would ever happen? Yes, it does. And it's for just that kind of a mistake. People working together, people trying to do the right thing, people trying to team together to build something good. And something happens that goes wrong and somebody gets really hurt. And that can happen physically. It can happen. I was out yesterday helping somebody with a tree and I was up a ladder and something could have gone wrong. I could have fallen and broken my leg and then I could have blamed that person for setting the ladder up wrong. We all make mistakes. And the cities of refuge are where people would go if they were chopping and the axe flew off the handle, the axe head hit somebody and sadly killed somebody. And then all the family would say, hey, that person killed our brother. We're going to go after him. And the person who did the mistake would run to the city of refuge. There were places already set up. The Lord knows we're going to make mistakes, and He knows that people are going to come after us. He knows we need protection. Sometimes people get so angry when things fly off the handle. So angry, they come after you. And you need to get protection. The Lord did that for the children of Israel. He said, when things go wrong, you make a mistake, you hurt somebody, I'm going to set up these places. The cities of the priests, of the Levites, in each one of these areas, there's going to be 6 of them. You've got to get to them. Hold on, the Lord said. to the altar. That's what the person who made a mistake was told to do. And the altar that we have doesn't have horns sticking out of it, but all the altars that they used in these 6 cities where they had their worship, they had horns. They had something to represent the power of the Lord. And you came and you held the horns of the altar and you begged for mercy. And you asked the priest that was there to give you a refuge. The Lord knows we're going to make mistakes. The Lord has set it up that we can come to Him and we can go to people we trust when we make mistakes and get justice and get mercy and compassion especially. And the most important thing about that is if you do make a mistake, to take responsibility, figure out what you can do to make things right.